Today's tutorial looks at how to manage the startup of female rabbits and follows on from the tutorial on the procedures to be applied before populating a rabbit farm. To begin this video, let's review the points covered in the first tutorial. As we saw in the previous tutorial, the arrival of a new herd is an important event that should be anticipated. Sanitary, environmental, feeding and disease control conditions must be mastered to optimize the genetic potential of the animals. Technical support is offered jointly by the vet, the breeding technician, and the breeder as soon as the herd is set up. In this tutorial, we'll be talking about starting up of your female rabbits, followed by the breeding renewal objectives. Let's start this second episode with the third step: starting the flock. Let's start with this third part, with the controls and registrations. The persistence of females in production is correlated with growth performance over the period between 10 weeks of age and the first insemination. Individual weekly weight checks on a sample of animals are therefore necessary. They are used to check that growth rates are consistent and consequently that the female rabbits are adapting to their new environment, as well as to ensure that the feeding program meets the animal's nutritional requirements. Daily records are also required. These include viability records, minimum and maximum temperature, water consumption, and feed consumption. Each non-compliant result will be discussed with the technical teams to define corrective actions. Let's continue with the second part of the third key stage, the breeding procedure. The usual procedure for breeding is as follows. 6 days before insemination, feed will be distributed as much as you like, and the lighting time will be increased to 16 hours a day by extending the end time. For example, go from a 6 a.m. to 4 p.m. time slot to a 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. time slot. On the day of insemination, in order to facilitate the work, for 10 to 15 minutes before insemination, the females will be put into groups. They will then be placed into individual housing. Then, 4 days after insemination, the feed distribution program that was in place during the growth period will be reactivated, and the lighting time will be reduced to 12 hours per day. Around 14 days gestation, a pregnancy check by palpation will validate this first phase of reproduction. Let's complete the third key stage with the first production cycle. The first production cycle will be managed as follows. At least 7 days before farrowing, pregnant females are placed in a mother cage. Maternity feed is then distributed as required. Then, 6 days before farrowing, the nest is prepared by adding litter and access is opened. Over the following days, special monitoring will ensure that all the females have access to their nest. During the 2 days after farrowing, the first step is to have the mother nurse the young rabbits. The nests are then checked and cleaned. Adoptions will help to balance the number and homogeneity of the young rabbits in each nest. From the 3rd day after farrowing, controlled lactation can begin by opening the nests once a day at fixed time for 6 to 8 hours. This technique, which is often used right up to insemination, allows you to check that breastfeeding is going well. In the case of a conducted in a 42-day rhythm, the method of preparation for artificial insemination, described above, for the first insemination, should be applied in the same way. At around 21 days of age, the nest boxes are removed to give the youngsters more space and comfort. Between 25 and 28 days of age, the pre-weaning feed is distributed in place of the maternity feed. Between 32 and 35 days of age, the first weaning is carried out. Let's end this tutorial with the fourth and final key stage, breeding renewal objectives. To ensure the longevity and the performance of the female rabbits, it is essential to consider and plan this aspect from the very start of the breeding program. Renewal is possible in various ways, through the introduction of Optima parental or grandparental females, also at different ages with 3 days old or adult animals. The method of introduction chosen will be adapted to the context of the farm, taking into account its size and its geographical location. Regardless of the method chosen for introducing breeding stock, the objective remains the same: to have enough Optima parent females in order to achieve an insemination target of 13 to 15% of young females in each flock. By applying all these recommendations, the animals will be able to express their genetic potential right from the start of the female rabbits.
If you like this video and want to see more, don't forget to subscribe to our WeZU newsletter and leave a comment just below.